people request exorbitant salaries that a small firm cannot sustain, and the client base cannot sustain that. Or they'll come on with a sign-on bonus and finish out the term, the 6-month term. You have to stay for 6 months in order to earn this bonus. They'll stay the 6 months, earn the bonus, and leave and go to the next firm. And it's just been, I don't know what's happening to the accounting world. I don't know. I don't know. It's terrible. I don't know where everybody's gone. We used to have, you would post a help wanted ad, and you would get tons of qualified candidates. Now it's like 1, 2.
My big idea is to be able to connect leaders, trusted advisors, people that can have a variety of businesses, and it's mostly businesses right now, mostly US and Canada, to be able to connect and get to know each other. And I started the Peers on Demand about 5 years ago. And I noticed that a lot of people were looking for funding, either internally to grow their business by clients, or externally by getting in either investors or private equity, or in some cases, getting the banking financing. And I thought that there's something here that perhaps we could work together a lot better, and we call it collaborative ventures. And so we created what we call CoVentures.world, where we could bring different leaders, different industries, different locations, different experience levels together. And last year we stepped into cybersecurity. It's a multi-trillion-dollar in space. So creating a cybersecurity academy for people to be able to learn about cybersecurity, and also to be able to, with security.world, to be able to address different client segments like medical and hospital entities, to be able to help them because they seem to be at risk by cybersecurity theft and fraud and attacks. But also some of our other peers like Consulting Ace is able to offer government grants, commercial incentives for those that qualify. And I think that came out of the pandemic, or at least that's where I first started hearing about it. And they've really dealt into it with about 12 plus different programs that may fit it for different types of companies, small, medium, and large size. So, and along the lines, we also work with Entrepreneurs University that does training online for small, medium, and even large companies, depending on their size, they can tailor make their training. And we started also working with VenOps, which is a regulatory compliance environment, and they focus with hospitals. They have about 1,000 clients as rural hospitals and orthopedics, and they've created their own AI, which I think will open up a lot more. And we've got a couple other peers that have AI already, Echo.ai and Savvy.ai, and they focus on employee benefits and being able to work with government clients as well as commercial. Continuum Foundation is focused on virtual solutions, especially with blockchain. That's a big area, the foundation for a lot of things, which includes NFT, which includes cryptocurrency. And so that's a really good space to be able to develop some ideas and implementation. We're also working in Southeast Asia with Ruba.world, also with Blackbird Global Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization. They started, and they still are, in cybersecurity, but they also now have healthcare on their radar to be able to provide healthcare kiosks. They're focusing on the African countries, and they've generated quite a bit of revenue stream to be able to buy the healthcare kiosks that can do quite a bit of good. So we're also working with recycling. We're also working in different areas. My invitation is that you might consider joining our CoVentures mastermind sessions that we have on a weekly basis. It's with other leaders to be able to discuss what opportunities there might be, what challenges, and what kind of resources we could tap into. So that's my invitation, is to consider joining our CoVenture world and participate, where you're working with high-risk companies to be able to provide banking. Can you say more about how does somebody work with you? What's the opportunity? What's the challenge that you're facing in your business? But first, what's the idea that you offer, Tiffany?
So when people get into their their business and they just start out, or vice versa, or they've been in business for a long time and they're suffering with fraud and chargebacks, or the type of business they're in, and the banks look upon them like high risk and they won't take them, or if they have not great credit, or the type of business. So depending on the type of business people are in, the bank might consider that being high risk. So our job is to put together a business plan for the bank and show them how we're protecting the bank and, their brand, like Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discover. We're protecting their brand. And at the same time, we're getting that merchant across the finish line with compliancy and staying within the rules of the brand. And, we're making it safe for both parties in that environment. And so what we do is we spend a lot of time understanding the merchant's needs and wants and seeing if how we can fit it into that gray place or gray area. And then we, pitch it to the bank and show them how we can keep them protected. And that's what we do. We do that every day, all day long. And, we look at different business models every day. It could be from travel to um, crypto to Nutra to healthcare. Everything is, challenging right now with payments. So we look at all of it and we try to find an answer and a bank that will work with them.
Maybe share what would a ideal client be for you, Tiffany?
Well, an ideal client is someone that is longing to get set up properly and basically be protected by their type of business and just be able to stay in business, right? Because if you don't have a payment processor, how do you stay in business? You struggle.
Yeah.
We can't all just take cash and wires. So most of the time, 99% of the time, we're looking for someone to take care of the payment processing. And then at the same time, you don't want to pay those high fees to be able to accept credit cards. So we sit in the middle where we do the hard work, hard lifting, and we charge you average, right? So you're not getting ripped off or you're going to be lied to and say you're going to get all these beautiful things and all these hidden fees and agendas. We actually show you what we're going to do. We prove our cases and we get you through the finish line.
Wow, that's really, really valuable. Talking about your business, can you share what's the biggest challenge you have in your business? Then that being the case, because I would think a lot of merchants would love to be able to work with you, unless there's a lot of competition. What's the biggest challenge you're facing in your business, Tiffany?
So in merchant business, there's a lot of us out there, but there's not a lot of us doing what we do, right? So there's a lot of us saying that they do what we do, but they don't. And our biggest challenge is marketing, finding the right partners for marketing, and lead sources to get our name and our brand out to the world. So, and we're not just US, so that makes it nice too. We're throughout the world, and we're constantly looking for new opportunities.
So, well, this is the right place for that because I do hear of a lot of different merchants that come to us. And of course, I invite them to share their business and their direction. And a lot of it has to do with finance and money. And I would assume if they're in business, they're already using somebody already. The question is, can they do better? And that's always a question. Let me open it up to see if Manal has any questions, comments, thoughts, feedback for Tiffany. Anything, Manal?
What do you need to see how you could price something like this for us? Because we have clients that use, for example, QuickBooks to process their credit cards, and they're super expensive. Um, I- how do we work with you? Because if we present you with information from our clients that can, you could help them. What do you need from us that would be able to assist them and assist you?
So what we normally ask for is 2 months, 3 months of merchant statements, so we could take a look at all their fees, and we'll do a cost analysis. We are plugged into QuickBooks, so that's not a problem. They can continue using QuickBooks to do their entries. And we go into the back end where we could process those transactions. So that's
Oh,
really
really?
easy. Yeah, that's really easy for us.
Let's hear from you, Manal. I wonder if you might say more about your business. This is a big area, tax season, January through April or May. But you've got your tax office, and you're working with assisted living, which is really interesting mix. How much, I mean, when do you have time to do that unless you do it after tax season? But maybe you could say more. You've got multiple businesses, multiple interests, multiple directions. What is the big one for 2025? What's the opportunity and what's the big challenge you're facing in your business? But start off with what's the big idea for this year, Manal?
The big idea for at least the tax is to grow it, stabilize it and grow it. Because we went through between COVID and the aftermath of that has caused great havoc on this industry in that we can't find team members. It's very hard. They come and go. It's just that they don't want to work in office anymore. Working remote we found that it's been it hasn't worked for us, and it hasn't worked for any of the accounting firms. People tend to get a little, I don't know, lazy, or they say they're on the clock and they're not, and it's like whatever. That's been one challenge, but we're stable now and we are in a growth mode, but obviously not during tax season. It's quite challenging. And then as far as the assisted living facilities, I got into that business because my parents were older and they didn't want to come and live with us. So we said, okay, let's do an assisted living facility. And I know nothing about the industry. We hired a management company who's been just quite disappointing, if I have to say, and it's causing a lot of issues, financial issues, lending issues. It's just the whole thing is a disaster. So we're looking for new management or to partner up with someone who actually is in this industry that we can grow the business with. You know, and hopefully retire.
To that. And I wasn't quite sure what you mentioned that after the pandemic, things changed because if you have a client base, they're going to follow you, whether you're online, and of course the world shifted to online or on-site. So I'm not clear about the challenge of the tax because we've had some other tax accounting officers join us and they get busy. Some of them can't take any more business because they're reached a limit to the number of people that they have. So it varies in terms of where they're at, but I'm not quite clear about the challenge in the accounting that you have, Manal.
I think the biggest challenge, I don't think it's getting clients because I love business and I can relate to the clients and I can help them get to their next level. But for me to be able to get to my next level, I have not been able to secure team members, and that's been a problem. Or partner up with someone who appreciates doing the management of a firm versus going out and securing clients. It's all on my shoulders. And there's only so much capacity that I can take, especially with having team members. We've tried the remote, that didn't work. It was a disaster. We've tried bringing in-house. People will, and people request exorbitant salaries that a small firm cannot sustain, and the client base cannot sustain that. Or they'll come on with a sign-on bonus and finish out the 6-month term. You have to stay for 6 months in order to earn this bonus. They'll stay the 6 months, earn the bonus, and leave and go to the next firm. And it's just been, I don't know what's happening to the accounting world. I don't know. I don't know, it's terrible. I don't know where everybody's gone. We used to have, you would post help wanted ad and you would get tons of qualified candidates. Now it's like one, two, and
It's a
whatever.
different world, and I think we
Yeah.
have to navigate it, and it is a virtual world. I think bringing them into the office, it's cumbersome, but if you could extend it, like you, Tiffany, you do global. I don't, Manel, I think you're probably more just the US only. The key there is that you have a whole US area to tap into. So I would think that the focus is focus online, being able to have some value that you offer for them, and maybe they work a few hours a day. I don't know what the requirements might be. Obviously, if they could work full time all the time and bring themselves, that makes a lot of sense. But that's expecting a lot from them. So I'm thinking now that you might lower your expectations, focus online, and automate as much as you can. And of course, with accounting, I think a lot of things have been already automated as much as they could be. Accounting's been around for so long. But I don't know, there may be some things they could automate with AI stepping in. So there are some things that you could do. What do you think about some of those things, Manal, to be able to extend the bonus to a year, to be able to focus online completely, and to automate as much as you can and lower your expectations?
I think that's a great idea. I think it's about all I can do. I think one of the things that I haven't explored quite yet is AI and the ramifications of that and how that will assist in eliminating a lot of uh, I, I don't even know. I mean maybe tax preparation. We're trying to figure out how to incorporate the accounting software with the tax software and see if we can get that to mesh to cut and have, maybe remote workers from the same time zone, it's North, South America. If I can't find local people, that and I can't automate the accounting function any more than it already has been. I think the team that I have here domestically, in office, pretty much deal with the clients. That face, for the clients, because that's important. Because I can't do India or South America and have them be the face of the firm. It's not gonna happen. What else? We're starting to explore what else AI can do for us.
Well, let's
So,
start with AI. I think there's two big ones that I'm using more and more. Obviously, ChatGPT from OpenAI. And here's the differentiator. One of our peers told me the other day that he was able to do a lot of his bookkeeping or accounting. Somehow there's a slash there. Automate that and automatically put it into a spreadsheet, and it just saved him a tremendous amount of time. I don't know specifically what he did, but certainly I can connect them with you and you could discuss that. What that means is a lot of time saving. If you could do that time saving for your clients, it cuts off your costs, your labor costs tremendously, and you could teach other people how to do that. All of a sudden, you've got magic on your side. So those are the two AI tools that I would recommend. Chat GPT, and they've come out with a new version, and a new one is DeepSeek. DeepSeek is free. ChatGPT cost is nominal, but DeepSeek I think would be an alternative. That just came out a week ago, so it's one of those things we don't know we don't know about that, but you can step into it. So my point is, but now that you're able to save the bookkeeping, arduous tasks by using that effectively. How specifically, you'd have to talk to our that gives you an easy entry. You have access to the AIs right away. use that tool, focus on that, you automate that piece, and then getting the people is going to be a task that just takes a longer time. The easier lift is the AI. Figure out how you could automate some of those things, and come back and join us. I'll connect you with one of our peers. His name is Ricardo Matos, and he's the one that told me he's doing some phenomenal things with that.